Well, hello, everyone. It's your girl, Gabrielle. Welcome to a brand new episode of Hot Topics. Let me just remind you what the show is about. So, this is the show where we like to have real talk about real things. We like to talk about things in education, employment, mental health, physical health, or anything else that is steamy. We've done episodes on homeschooling, studying abroad, self care, artificial intelligence, are Black people entitled to things? All that juicy stuff, but all in the name of learning and education, as we are a production of my company, A Step Ahead Tutoring Services. So, this show is all about you being 1% better than how you were yesterday. And today I am looking forward to this topic because while I have a brand new guest, I am bringing back a topic. So I love it when I do repeat topics. So let me tell you what that topic is. The topic is living abroad. That's right. So I'm actually bringing back this topic. Living abroad part 2. So this is part 2 of this installment, and let me tell you who my guest is, who is going to sit on the hot seat. Her name is Katy Parker. And let me just tell you briefly about who she is. So, she is a trauma informed well being writer who integrates mental health and faith into her words. And her goal is to encourage and empower trauma survivors and support them on their healing journey. So, she is all about healing, you guys. All right, so without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and bring Katy to the stage.
Hello, hello. Hello from
Hey,
the
Katie,
hot
how you doing
England.
today?
Hello, hello.
Yes, you are coming to us from England, from really hot England. Is that right?
Yeah, yeah. It's really hot here at the moment. So yeah, greetings to you from hot England. Yeah. Mm.
All right. Ugh, I know the weather is crazy right now, all over. All right, so let's jump right into it. So, you have an interesting story about your experience living abroad, and I would love for you to tell your story to our audience. So, please tell us about your experience living abroad.
Yes. So my name is Katy, and I was born and grew up in Slovakia. And yeah, I mean, I it's not that I kind of always wish to live abroad or anything. It just happened, really. So when I was, yeah, after I finished my college, because I study in Slovakia, my primary and secondary school and college, then I really wanted to go to university, and I was writing. Actually, I was like, I started to write since I remember. Really, I wrote my first poem that was published was when I was only about 7 years old, and it was published in a children's newspaper and or a magazine, yeah, children's magazine. And then I wanted to study university, something like journalism or humanities. I was always kind of in this direction. But in Slovakia, back at home, when you go to university, you have to do entry test. I don't know if it's like this in every country, but we had to do an entry test, and I didn't pass it, unfortunately. Um, I I kind of then decided that I will use that year to improve my German language, and I moved to Germany. And then, yeah, I my plan was to go there for a year, but as it often is, we plan thing and something totally different happens. So I, instead of a year, I stayed there for almost six. And after this, I wasn't anymore thinking to go to university anymore because it's no, I don't know, like living in different countries, I kind of experienced all those things that I didn't experience at home living in a small city. So I was independent as I had to be and didn't have anybody there. I came there as an au pair, so I lived with the family, so I had to kind of get to know new culture, new people, everything new really for me. And so I stayed there for a few years. I studied there, but something totally different. I studied there translation, business, German and French. And then, yeah, I decided to one thing I would like to do, and it is to learn English as well. So after I finished school, I came to England for the again supposed to be for a year, and I am here now. It was actually this month 18 years. So I've been 18 years now in England. So yeah, but I'm sure we will discuss this probably in more details. Yeah.
Of course, of course. So you all right, so let's start from the beginning, right? So you were born and raised in Slovakia, right?
Yeah.
Right. And then you went to college. You you started you went to university in Slovakia?
No, I want to go, but because you have to do entry exams to go to university, I didn't pass it. So I decided that I go to Germany to improve my language, and that hopefully after a year I'll go to University of Slovakia. But it just never happened then anymore. Yeah.
So why Germany?
Because I one of the thing I wanted to actually do was as well study language. So you had to do exams in languages as well. And because I studied German before that, I was thinking, okay, so I would like to go back to university or apply back to go to university. Hopefully a year later. Hopefully this time I will pass the exams, but I do need to improve my language, my German language. So that's why I decided to go to Germany. So I was just thinking, yeah, where else would the best country to go? So improve my German. So I decided to go to Germany. I went there as an au pair for a year. And then, yeah, and then I just, I mean, I don't know that little girl from Slovakia living in a small, in a small town, went suddenly abroad to live in a big town because I lived in Munich. So yeah, and I think it's just that obviously you get to know different culture, new people, you suddenly become so independent and you go like, oh, actually, you know what? I kind of enjoy my life here. So I stayed a bit longer and I as well did find my boyfriend there, ex-boyfriend. Well, I've been together with a few, yeah, we were together for a few years. And so I, I stayed there. I always kind of think that, and I kind of say it in my writing as well when I write, I have a feeling that when we're moving somewhere, we either running away from somewhere or we're running towards something. And we often, when we move abroad, we think we run towards a better, something better. And I think so was it for me. Like when I moved there, there were so many things better. Actually, I did. As I said, being in a new country, you experience so many new things. There might not be exactly everything just better, but it is new, really. And then when I did find when we got together with my ex, so my parents were divorced, and I unfortunately ended up in my mom's steps that I realized after a few years that the relationship just isn't working. My parents were divorced, as my father was alcoholic, and yeah, it's just I was thinking, I need to go to different country probably to end this relationship. And as well as I said, I wanted to learn English. So I decided to go to England after I finished school, and there was 2 years. 2 year, yeah, I think it was 2 years studying foundation degree in Germany, translation, actually German French. So then I realized that I am just walking my mom's steps, and that's not what I want for myself. So I decided then I moved the country again because I kind of, as I said, running away as well from somewhere. So I was thinking, okay, the best way to end the relationship would be, because I was thinking if I stay there, it probably will never end the relationship. And I just knew it isn't working. So I moved to different country, and yeah, since then it was in 2005, and I'm still in England. So yeah,
So that's an interesting thing that you said there. So you you were in Germany and then you had a relationship with an ex-boyfriend in Germany, but things went south, things didn't work out,
yeah,
and and you wanted to get away, so you went to England?
yes, yeah.
Right.
I
So
also
you
want to learn the language as well. So it wasn't just like going away. Like, yes, yeah, on one side it was, but on the other side I as well wanted to learn English, and that's why I decided to come to England. Yeah.
right. So all right. So you wanted to improve your English anyway, so you figure
Yeah,
um that so there's a couple things. So you wanted to get away from the ex-boyfriend, but
yeah,
also you wanted to improve your English anyway because that's right, because you're studying languages and translation. So you figure, you know, go to England where it's far away.
yes, yeah. Mm. And as well, I mean, I wasn't really improving because I didn't really speak any English. So yeah, I just want to add as well. So if anybody listening and you're really kind of thinking, oh, I would like to go to some country or so to live, but I don't speak the language, I would say this shouldn't be really the barrier, like do it anyway, because I came here to England with no English at all. Like I knew I would like to work with languages because that's what I studied: translation, business, German, and French. But I was thinking, okay, what is one language that like the whole world speaks? But I don't. It was English. So then I decided it actually, yeah, it would be good to come to England and learn English. And as well as we know, it's probably best you learn English. You learn a language when you live in a country. So I just decided, yeah, to come to England, and I came here as an au pair as well after I finished my study in Germany. So yeah.
So right. So one of the things that I picked up as you were traveling to each country is that you wanted to learn the language of that country.
Yes.
So, you went to Germany because you wanted to improve your German. Then you went to
Mm.
England because you wanted to improve your English. And I believe you went to France
No, I
as well.
wanted to. I was thinking to go to France, but then I met my husband now. I was thinking to go to France, and after I've been here for a year, I actually and I had a very lovely family actually in England. I was very lucky. And I was thinking, okay, so what I would like to do after a year being here. My plan was always just come here for a year. And so I was thinking I would like to probably try another country. Like let's see what happens if I do go to France, and I improve my French as well. Because even though I studied French for like 2 years at the foundation degree, and then I studied it before about 2 years, I mean, the language wasn't like, yeah, my French wasn't that great. So I was thinking, yeah, I would like to go to improve it. And it was always the aim. I even actually looked at Golden as an au pair, because this is like um, being an au pair, at least when you're young, for young people who might listen to us. It was really great for me, because yes, yeah, you might be scared, going first time or leaving your family and so going to a new family and so, but it as well gave you a great opportunity to be in a country to learn language. So I was thinking to do so. But then as I said, I did get together. Actually, I got together with my husband. Yeah, now my husband. And it was then a bit hard decision for me. And as well, the family actually I stay with, they didn't really want me to leave. They actually asked me if I could stay for another year, and they would pay me um, French courses to visit, to actually go to French classes in England, and that's what I did. I stayed with the family for another year, and they paid me to go to French classes for a year, and yeah, instead of actually going to France. So yeah, and then yeah, as the relationship with my husband then started to get serious, and so it was like maybe I just don't go to France anymore, and so I stayed in England. Yeah. Mm.
Have you been to France at all
Um,
since you got
I've been
married?
once to visit. I've been once to visit. I've been once actually just on holiday to Paris and to Disneyland. But I would like to go and do a bit more of France, definitely. Yeah.
Right. So you were on your way to France, but then,
Yeah.
but then
Things
life
happen.
happened, right? You fell in
Yeah.
love, so the ex-boyfriend is out the window and now you have this new man, you fell in love and then you were already staying with the family. So, and they wanted you to stay and they were willing to pay for French courses. So, you were on your way to France, but then these things kind
Yeah.
of came out of nowhere.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
So, all right. So how did you afford to go to all these different countries?
Yeah, that's why I said opera, because it's probably as yeah, like I think there's up to the age 25 or something like this, you can be au pair. But yeah, you can go to different countries, you apply for the au pair visa, or actually had to then apply for the au pair visa. Now it's a bit different with Slovakia being in the European Union, and so I assume the countries within the European Union, you don't need to apply for a visa or stuff. But yeah, I still had to then. And yeah, you had to get an au pair visa, and then you could go because you live with a family. So you don't live by yourself, you live with a family, and they pay you kind of like a pocket money or so. You're helping there with the children or with household or whatever they need, and they pay you as well. And obviously, as you live there, you're able to use, they have a shower, you have your own room, you eat with the family. So yeah, and that's kind of was for me the best way to go from one country to another. And so yeah, and but what I want to say as well, I came here to England with no language actually apart from hello. I remember coming actually to the airport, and the man came to pick me up from the family, and I was thinking, oh gosh, like what do I say? The only thing I can say is hello, so I just said hello to him, and we were almost quiet. But the good thing was that they could speak a little bit German and French. So we kind of had a conversation in the other languages than English. And as well, from the first day as I came here, and I think I like learning languages, and I think I'm quite good at it as well. So from the first day as I came, I arrived. The next day, I went to English school, so I went to apply for English, yeah, to English school. Did the I think I had to still do some entry test or something, and just that they know what level I am at. And yeah, I started school straight actually on, and you know, I think as you live in a country, you'll learn the language probably quicker and better. But as well, what was interesting because I came here and I I said as I didn't have any language or any actually kind of knowledge of English, and I had four children in a family. I came to the family where I were four children, and I was so scared, thinking, okay, there's four children. How do I do it? But the good thing was, like I I always like to work with children, so that wasn't a problem for me. Yeah, the language was the other thing because, but you always like then okay, you didn't have perhaps the internet like as you have today so much and so, but I use my dictionary, and yeah, that's how we work in a family, and that's how kind of my relationship was as well. Then with my husband, but as well as the lady, why she has chosen me, because the thing is, when you go as an au pair, so you write your CV in all this application form, but then as well, family has to pick you. And I asked the lady why she picked me, given that I couldn't really speak English. And she said then something interesting to me. She said, "Yeah, you can learn language, but you cannot learn the behavior or the attitude toward children." And she said, "As I read your CV, and so I was thinking you would be quite a good match for my family." And I think that's true. That's something, you can learn language, but perhaps there are things you cannot learn that it has to be in you, I think. And so I got on with the family really well. And yeah, I managed to learn language. I hope so. Yeah. Mm.
So you were an au pair in every country that you went to.
Yes. Yeah. That's how I started. Yeah.
So how did so let me just gather my thoughts. Um, so you self-funded all these trips, right? So you had to pay for it yourself, right? So you did so by getting a job as an au pair in the country that you went to, and then using that money to to get the essentials and to pay for travel. And so you went, so in order for you to get into these countries, well, no, but it's all in the European Union.
Yes, then yeah, yeah. But I have a friends who went to America as well to do au pair. So yeah. Mm.
But you were there for a while, so I think you
Yes.
for you to stay
So
that
then
long, it has to be the school or employment. And so
yes, exactly. That's why I studied then in Germany. So I studied then, as I said, I studied translation. And in England, because we were already in European in Slovakia, so it was easy. You could actually stay. But as well, what has happened after, as I said, I enjoyed working with children. And the lady that I stayed had a friend who suggested to me why and she said to me, like, "Katy, why you don't work with children? You could like not just an au pair, but once you finish being au pair, because it's only, I think, maximum, I think, 2 years or so you can be au pair. I don't know if that's changed by now, but I think that's what it used to be." And she said to me, "So why you don't find a job, working with children?" And then there's another thing, there's nannies as well. So nanny is when you're already in a when you're already in the country, you can be a nanny, but either live with a family or living by yourself, and then you get a salary. So you not just pay the pocket money, but you earn like per hour, whatever amount. And I did this for a while after I left the family, where I was an au pair. But as well, I worked in a nursery. So yeah, that lady did say to me, why would you not go and do something like this? So I was like, actually, it's a good idea. So already as I was an au pair, I started just as a volunteer. You volunteer first. Like I started volunteer in a nursery, and then later on, they said, yeah, they're happy to have me. So I got my first job actually at a nursery, and then I did find a family as well, but I was working as a nanny. So I lived with my boyfriend then, now my husband. Yeah, and after I finished in the family, we lived together, and yeah, and that's how it then went. And later on, I studied as well university in England. I studied education because I was always enjoyed working with children. So I studied education, and then later on, I did find job with children with special needs, what I really enjoyed. Um, and yeah, that was how I'm still kind of here. Yeah, but I mean, it sounds everything kind of so great and stuff, but it's as I said, I would say everything has got an advantage and disadvantage. The disadvantage is that you are away from your family,
mhm.
what obviously is not always easy. And after I finished being au pair in my English family, there here in England, my mom got really ill. So she got cancer and she got really ill. And that was a time when I returned back home for a while. And then later, because obviously you need money, you need to live from something, and you need to pay as well the doctor expenses and everything. So later on, I came back to England and did find, as I said, a job in nursery. They were happy to help me back, and then I did find as well nanny job. So yeah,
Right. Wow. you, you know,
yeah,
that's a lot that you packed in there. So all of your travels and taking care of yourself, it was you were doing nanny jobs and au pair and working with kids, and to that seemed to be a good financial source for you.
yeah, yeah. And then, as I said, I was a writer when I was in Slovakia, and I wanted to always study journalism or writing also. When I was in Germany, I kind of almost gave up my dream. And even in England, I wasn't even thinking about it anymore to become or to go back to writing because, like, people ask, yeah, but where the writer comes from or the blogger. So it's like, yes, yeah, I wasn't even thinking anymore to write. But I think, we plan and God has got different plans with us. I think sometimes, as I said, I was here working at school and everything. And then we all know 2020 came, and what a year was it? We all stayed locked in. Yeah, as we say, lockdown came and everything, all the craziness came. And I had a very bad accident. Yeah, unfortunately, I was coming home from work and a van hit me as I was crossing the road, and I ended up in hospital with fractured back. I had to learn to walk again, and yeah, it was a hard time for us. My recovery started then as well, and unfortunately, I was as well diagnosed with PTSD after the accident. Yes, it was a hard time, and then me being in hospital by myself because it was lockdown, I was thinking first when I started to get flashbacks after a week after the accident, I was thinking, you know what, my head is getting so big. I'm here by myself in that country. I'm like, I'm learning to walk. I'm like, I have no idea what will be with me. And so, but then I took a pen and paper and I started to put my thoughts on yeah on paper, just empty my head, and that's how I got back to writing was my therapy, and I did write in English language and I still do. So yeah, and you go on my blog, Journey of Smiley, and Smiley because my mom used to call me Smiley. So yeah, as I smile you might notice quite a bit. So it's a journey of healing and hope. And yeah, Journey of Smiley was born then in hospital. Writing was very therapeutic for me, and is still today. I'll do journaling as well, and I did write as well journaling tips and prompts guidebook. So yeah, you can find it on my website as well. And yeah, I got here in England back to writing. What I wasn't even thinking this would ever happen again.
So it's like you felt you so you were writing before and then you took a break and then you went back to it.
Yes, because you know what, the break kind of not that I really planned to be honest, but I moved away from Slovakia, as I said, and I don't know. I just, this critique we have inside us it kind of tells you like you're not good enough and things. You're not good enough, like nobody will read it, and all those things, all the negative things. So I think I listened to the critique a bit too much. So I was thinking, okay, I lived in Germany, and I was thinking, my German is not good enough, perhaps, to write in German yet. But my Slovak language is kind of not anymore at a level where I would want to write, and kind of it's not anymore at the level where it was when I lived in Slovakia. So I stopped writing and I wasn't even thinking about it at all anymore until really my accident happened. And I think once you're really down there, you just don't think about, what other people think or so. I was thinking, I'll do it. Because my head was so big in a hospital. Like I started to get flashbacks. It was just really everything. So I was thinking, no, I am going to get crazy if I just don't empty my head. And the best thing is just to empty it on a paper. So I took a pen and emptied my head on paper, and that's how that's how I started again when my accident happened. Yeah, go back to writing, and then um, first I was writing for myself, and then I was thinking, you know what, it'll be shame not to share it. So I shared my journey, and once I started to get people saying to me, "Oh, I as well have a PTSD, or I as well went through trauma," and all those things, I figured out I'm not the only one. I'm not, yeah, I'm not alone. We are never alone, really. So I started to share it, and then I started as well. I founded PTSD My Story, my story project, where I have other people sharing their stories as well. So it's international people from all around the world sharing their stories with PTSD and trauma and resilience and healing. And just was thinking, when this happened to me, my accident and everything in this country, in a different, in a country where I lived then, I didn't know how, like, I didn't know much about medical system, like anything like this. I never had to deal with anything like this, so I was just grateful for people I had around me, to be honest. And I was thinking, great, I think there might be people like me who would like to know about those things and how things go. And as well, then later with PTSD, how do you live in different country when you have a PTSD and everything? And yeah, lots of people might be still studying or whatever. And how do you live your day to day? Actually, that's why I started to study. That's why I started to share it. Yeah, and yeah, I'm just so grateful to all the trauma survivors and warriors that they are happy to share their stories and being part of my project. Yeah, of the project. Let's see.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. And it's like it all came from your anxiety about, you're in this is England, right? That
Yes,
the
yeah,
accident
no, yeah,
happened in. So you're in England, you're in this country that you don't really know, and you don't speak English, or you don't speak a lot of English, and you had to leave Germany to get away from the ex-boyfriend, right? So now you're in this country, you don't really speak the language, and all of a sudden you get into this accident, right?
mm,
And it's like, how do you navigate that? You barely speak English, and now you have to deal with this healthcare system that you
yeah.
don't really
I
know
mean,
how it
yeah.
works.
I mean, by the time when I had the accident, my English was obviously much better. And yeah, it was a
Oh,
few
it was
years
much
ago.
better.
So,
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
so my language was, yeah, because I studied university as well before the accident. And so I've been here now since 2005. So yes, yeah, when I came here, my English was not existing. But then obviously living in the country, you learn language and everything. But still, like, I never had any experience kind of being here in a hospital for longer than I had the knee operation, but it was just like for one day and I had to go. Yeah. You don't really stay in a hospital, and suddenly I'm like, okay, I'm in a hospital here in a new country. I was like, I don't even know how things go. And so, but the good thing is, you have people around you, and I always learned if you don't know something, ask. Because if you don't ask, you don't get anything. So there's no shame to ask people. So I think I was in a hospital. I did ask lots of things, and yeah, um, I think that's how you navigate it. And I think as well, I was lucky because I have an amazing husband, amazing support actually. Even though he couldn't be really in hospital with me, but I was grateful for all the nurses, and I must say, the hospital, the NHS was so great. And when I was in the hospital, in the hospital actually, patient. So I'm just so grateful to have the support I had. Mm.
So you were lucky. So you were already married at the time of the accident.
Yes, yeah, we were married.
Okay,
Yeah,
so you were actually in a better position because
yeah,
sorry, I
luckily.
was thinking like this is just as you entered
No,
England, but you've
no,
been in England for a while. right? Your
Mm.
English has improved, you're already married. So, you had a better command of the English language and
Yeah,
even the ways of England, at this point.
yeah, yeah. Luckily, yes, yeah, yeah, exactly. Home was already in England. We moved. We are now on the south coast, where it's really, really hot at the moment. Where it's really, really hot now. So yeah, we moved here a few years ago actually, and obviously, until then, I was always saying, yeah, I have two homes, and one in Slovakia and one in England, because I used to live in London and a huge city, really. And then we moved because of my husband's job. We moved to the south coast, and I think I really did find a home here. No, I really like. I think it's a really once you find a place you really call home, then it is just so amazing. And I never knew it would be in England, to be honest. I came here really just for a year first. Yeah. But then, yeah, stayed with my husband. And so that even when I lived here, as I say, in London for about 10 years and so, I still was kind of like, oh, yeah, but I have a home in Slovakia as well. And I still do. I mean, I still do have a home in Slovakia and so. But I think once we moved, oh, really, I think you feel it inside you. Like my heart now is like, yeah, I love the South Coast. I think I'm at home here. Yes, yeah. I love it here now. Yeah.
So you mentioned your family, like your parents. I mean, your mom got sick, but how did how did your parents feel about you being away for so long? Because you went to
Mhm.
Germany and then you went to England, and then, if it wasn't for your mom getting sick, you probably would have stayed in England, right? So how did your family feel about you being away for so long?
Yeah, I think I would say I'm quite lucky actually, because my mom always supported me, always supported me. She was always there for me and always supported me. So when I came to Germany, the plan was go there for a year and then come back to Slovakia and try the university again. So yeah, and to hopefully pass the entry exams and study at university. So that was the plan. Um, as it didn't happen really exactly like this. I think I think as your parent, you just kind of have to probably just take it that your child is probably not going to stay forever with you there at home. And so it wasn't easy, obviously, for me neither. But I think as you are so young and you want to experience new things, um, I just didn't want to then go back to Slovakia anymore. And then I came to England, yeah, as I said. And my mom got ill, and that's where the problem started. I think all of us who live abroad and had to go through something like this when something happens at home, whatever it is, it's really hard. You start to question yourself: Am I doing the right thing? Am I doing the right thing to staying here? And so, I was together with my boyfriend then already, and luckily, I was working as a teacher and I could go every 6 weeks so home. Yeah. So first, as I said, I went home for longer, stayed there with my mom after she did find out that she got cancer. Then I came back here and started to work in a nursery and as a nanny. And all the holidays I had, I was traveling back to Slovakia to stay with her. And yeah, that was uh, 4 years or so, 4 or 5 years, when the cancer unfortunately returned back. And that was a really hard time because I supposed to have an operation at the a day when I got a message. So the story is that I went to hospital, have an operation on my knee. As I said, I had once before, just kind of quick operation. It was just torn meniscus or so. So I went there and I fell asleep on the bed as they getting you ready, and so on. I fell asleep, and suddenly my phone just kind of started to vibrate. As I woke up, had some dream about angels or so. I woke up, I grabbed the phone, thinking, "What time is it? Like, how long have I been here?" And so, and then I was looking at it. Sorry, I just closed the window. because there's a bit of noise there.
Mhm.
And when I read the first line of the message, and I was just written, my brother sent me a message saying, that Katy mom is in coma, and I was scared to even open it. Actually, I was thinking, oh my gosh, like I need to read that message, but I'm even scared to read it. So I went to toilet. I opened the yeah, it was in the bathroom. Opened the message, and I just straight phoned my husband. Now my husband, and I just said to him, like, I need to go to Slovakia. I need to go, like, straight now. And I was supposed to go 2 days later because that was Friday and I had a flight ticket for Sunday, thinking, okay, I have a Friday operation and then I'll go home. My brother is there anyway. He looks after my mom. He can look after me as well. That were the plans. And then suddenly it's just totally different thing. Like I had to go straight and home because things happen. And yeah, I unfortunately didn't make it on time, come home. And when I was at the airport, my auntie did phone me and she said, Katy, unfortunately. And I just remember that was the longest journey for me, like the longest journey going home. Because, you're just going there to not anymore seeing your parents. And I was very close with my mom. I was lucky I was 6 weeks before at home and we had a lovely time with my mom. And so, but yeah, I think that's something that you have to, you know, always living abroad, things like this can happen. And it's not only living abroad, those things can happen even if you are at home and you live a few hours away or so from your parents. We never know what happens really. So those things can happen and you just have to come to terms with it yourself. I mean, for myself, I did blame myself for a very long time that I didn't come earlier and so. Um, but we cannot get back the past, and we decide or we make decisions on the information we know that time available. We think we made the right decision, and sometimes, unfortunately, it comes as is not, or then something else will be perhaps better, but we never know. So it's just something you have to live with it. But my mom, as I said, she was always supporting me. Even when she was ill and I said, Mom, I think I'm coming to Slovakia, and I was in my with my boyfriend, yeah, with my boyfriend now husband. And she said, yeah, but like, Katy, what are you going to do here? And what is he going to do here? Like you have your life. Like I don't want you to just come here because of me. And so she was always supporting me, and yeah, I'm just so grateful that I had a man I had. So yeah.
Yeah, it definitely helps, having a support system, especially when you're traveling to all these different countries. You're not home, they're not seeing you. They're only just hearing your voice over the phone.
Mm.
So, it takes a strong support system to do that. And
Um,
it sounds like you
yeah.
have that.
I was lucky that, as I said, I had a job that I could travel like every 6 weeks back home because, yeah, that was another thing. And, I was thinking that when I start to work and nursery and then in schools, and so I was thinking, okay, it's good to be here because at least I can go home every 6 weeks and that's what I needed. I needed to go to see my mom. And, yeah, so I was, yeah, grateful for this as well. Yeah.
So now is your mom still with us? Can I ask?
Unfortunately, no. She passed
No.
away over 10 years ago. Yeah,
I'm sorry about that.
yeah.
So when have you so after she passed, that's when you went back to England?
Uh, so I was, as I said, I went home when I was here when I was here finishing in my family after 2 years. I went there when she was first time ill. When she first time did find out that she got cancer, I stayed there for a while. Then I came back here. And then 4 years after, as I was already back in England, working in a nursery and schools, I was still traveling home quite often. The cancer returned again. And that's when she then passed away quite soon after, I think. So I was in England again, but as I say, I was traveling every six. But yeah, by the time when it returned again, the cancer, I knew I had to go home again and again. So I was just going there every 6 weeks, being with her. So yeah.
And then, so after she passed away, did you ever, did you ever come back to, did you ever go back to Slovakia?
Yes, I mean, because we love Slovakia. We have our holiday place there as well. I'm lucky that my husband loves Slovakia as well. The nature is beautiful. So we used to go obviously more often then when my mom was still alive. But we still do go to Slovakia. Now, since my accident, not so much. We go like once a year because it's not so easy for me now to fly. And so, because of the pain, I'm still in recovery, still going through, yeah, through all those things. So it's not so easy anymore, but still, yeah, we do like to go to Slovakia. And I'm so grateful that we still can. Yeah, it's a beautiful country. Yeah.
That's good because you still have family there, right? So you try
Yes,
to go
yes. I
back as
still go to
often as you
visit.
can.
Yeah, I still go to visit my grannies. Although my brother lives in Prague, so yeah, and I really love when they come to see us as well. I mean, having them here actually, where I call it home here, having them here as well is, yeah, I really love it because we can go to the seaside, we can do all those different things, and yeah, I really, and I think they enjoy being here as well. So yeah, we have a lovely time. But as I say, I do go to visit my granny and other family members. So yeah, and actually, after my mom passed away, and having all this funeral and all these things, I stayed there again for about a month, I think, or so, because obviously I had to sort out some things. And so
Right,
yeah, yeah.
right. So now, what advice would you give for, as we're going to start to bring things down now. So, what advice would you give for anyone who's interested in? Because it sounds like you went to all these countries. You went for school. You went for work. So, what advice would you give for someone who wants to live in another country? You know, who may be going through something similar to what you went through. What advice would you give?
I would say just do it. Obviously, like even when we were moving actually from London here in the South Coast, we took a paper and we did write cons, pros, and so. So obviously, like do write yourself all the cons, all the pros. Do find out about the country where you want to go as much as possible, and just yeah, do it because we only regret things that we haven't done really. So I would say go and do it. Then still, you don't have to stay in that one country. This is my third country now where I live, so you don't have to stay there. There is no country that is perfect. I would say as well. There's always something you would find in every country that is something. Um, Not everybody can like everything, and so, but uh, you know, um just yeah, go and do it. As I say, do find out as much as you can, write your pros, your cons. It always will be sad to leave your family when you have that. It always will be sad. But then as well, you have to know as well what it brings you as well. Move to different country and so I think just try and then if you can try just for a short period, then try as well. It's always to go travel. I think we have something in Slovakia what we say you are a human as many times as many languages you speak or as many countries you visit. So yeah, every country is different. Every country has got different culture, and so you learn different things. And as well, I think life abroad gave me a lot. Like his yeah, the accident happened here to me, and so yeah, we can say, oh yeah, but perhaps I wouldn't have accident in Slovakia, and so but we never know what would be. So if there's such a things, but it gave me a lot because I think I when I go now home, I think I look at the world with the different eyes, different perspectives as well. So yeah, you learn different things, you different cultures, you get to know different people, and so yeah, definitely write down your cons and pros and then decide what's the best for you. Yeah, because as I say, we only regret things what we don't do really. So I would say, yeah, try.
There you go. There you have it. And then learning new languages. and the best way to learn a new language is to actually go to the country
Yeah, as
that
I
language
said,
is
yeah.
mostly spoken.
Yeah, yeah. And as well, you don't have to stay until live like forever. If you decide as well, like, okay, I want to try it and it isn't for me, also then you can always come back. So, or you can change going to different countries. As I say, there's no country that is perfect. Yeah. But one thing what I would say, there's like, I don't know if you experience this, but like many people come to country and then they compare, they compare with like, oh, but at home is this and this different. Yeah, every country is different.
Yeah.
And we often as well, we kind of compare to, like, we left our country and we compare to a country where we live with something that is almost, you cannot compare, because it is almost, if I would be comparing London to some a very small town or village and you go like, oh yeah, but we have this and that. Yeah, of course you're comparing like a multi-million people, you know city with something that's small, so it's not really, you can really compare. So yeah, so if you live in the country as well, if you go, then travel as well that country. I would say it isn't only about coming to different country and not to really get to know that country as well. Travel as much as you can and get to know people and get to know the traditions or whatever. Travel, because I heard so many times, this people come to, for example, like, people come to London and they go like, oh, but England doesn't really have a nature. And I go like, doesn't have a nature? Really? Like, I have seen steels, delphines, whatever in England. I have seen like, what? Where are you really? Or in London? Then yeah, don't really wonder because you do need to get out. You need to get to know the country. It has got like a beautiful national park, beaches, everything really. You do really need to go out and get to know the country. So one thing is really to just get to a country and like, okay, I'm just here to, depends really what you as well want to do. So, because some people do come to different country and they just for earning money and then go back home. If this is your aim, then it's great, but then I wouldn't compare the two countries, perhaps, and if you haven't really seen much of the other country. So yeah, as I said, no country is perfect. You just find the one that works for you best. Yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful. Beautiful advice, and I hope my audience is taking that advice. All right. Well, Katie, thank you so much for coming on Hot Topics and sharing your story. And
Thank
I
you.
hope that I got a lot from it, and I hope that my audience took a lot from it as well. So thank you for coming on Hot Topics and sharing your story.
Thank you so much for you actually for inviting me. And yeah, I hope that, yeah, that whoever is thinking to go to different countries, so that's the decision that they won't regret it. And yeah, thank you so much for having me here.
Awesome, awesome. All right, so now it is promo time. So let's talk about your business. So tell us about your business.
Uh, Yes, so as I said, I founded my journey of Smiley and really in a hospital, really after my accident. But yeah, that's my blog, Journey of Smiley. It's really the journey of, yeah, it's a journey, mm, my journey of healing and hope. And I as well have, I'll try to show it to you if you can't see it. I as well have got on the website, if you go, there's a seven keys to self healing, a trauma survivor's guide. So if you're going through healing, if you went through trauma, and yeah, then just download it. It's free, and there's my knowledge, my experience, but as well everything I learned in conversation with mental health professionals. And yeah, I really hoped it you know, did you find something that helps you on your journey? I always say healing shouldn't be a luxury, and that's why I wrote the guide. As well, you can download the journaling tips and prompts to go with the keys. And yeah, writing helped me so much. Writing became really kind of my tool of healing, and I'm sure it can help others as well. So yeah, so yeah, just go find me on Journey of Smiley. It is on my website, my social media. And if you have a story to tell, just tell it, it can inspire others as well. And as I'm so grateful to all the trauma survivors to sharing their story and becoming a part of PTSD My Story project. And if you would like to as well share your story, my email is smiley@journalsmiley.com. Just do so. I think through writing, I did get to know myself so much better, and I hope that my writing inspired others as well. So yeah, you know, your story is here to be shared. So just share your story. And thank you so much.
Thank you, thank you. And just to shout out your social media or where people can find you. So people can find you online. Your website is www.journeyofsmiley.com. Uh, People can also find you. Well, you gave your email, so I'll just say it again. The email address smiley@journeyofsmiley.com. And we can also find you on all social media platforms with the account name Journey of Smiley. So I encourage you guys listening and watching, if you want to learn more about Katy Parker, if you want to take advantage of her services, I encourage you to reach out to her and connect with her. The information is scrolling below at the bottom of the screen if you are watching this on video. But if you are listening to this on a podcast, I did not forget about you. The information is in the description. So, however, you are taking in the sound of my voice right now, the information is available to you, and I encourage you to connect with Katy Parker. And once again, I just want to reiterate she has a free guide, 7 Keys to Self Healing, a Trauma Survivor's Guide. It is free and you can download it online. The website is journeyofsmiley.com/free hyphen resources hyphen journey of smileys. I know there's a lot of hyphens there. So the information is in the description. So you can check it out and download your free guide. And it's also at the bottom of the screen right now. So I encourage you to take advantage of these resources. It is free. And I encourage you to reach out to Katy Parker if you need some additional assistance. All right.
Thank
Well,
you so much.
Katy, thank you again for coming on the show.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Awesome, awesome. So I'm going to place you backstage now. And you guys, it is now you and me. So I want to take this moment to thank you for joining me on another episode of Hot Topics. I am going to remind you guys that Hot Topics is a production of my company, A Step Ahead Tutoring Services. So if you are in need of any tutoring services, whether it is for yourself or for a child at home, we provide in person services to the New York City area, but we also provide virtual tutoring services as well in the United States. And we're even considering abroad. I know you might be watching this from another country right now. So if you are interested in any kind of tutoring services, reach out to us. Our website is www.astepaheadtutoringservices.com. You can also find us on multiple social media platforms. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, and um, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube with the account name A Step Ahead Tutoring Services. You could also find us on Twitter and TikTok with the account name ASATS2013. So I encourage you to find us on social media. I encourage you to follow us, stay in touch with us, get in touch with us as well. So if you are looking for any kind of tutoring services, test prep, college counseling, editing, and proofreading, hit us up. No matter where you are in the world, we will accommodate you. So, again, I will give you the website. It is www.astepaheadtutoringservices.com. And I also encourage you guys, let me know your thoughts about this episode. Did you like it? Not like it? Leave a comment below and give us a rating. So if you are watching this on video, drop a comment in the comment section below. If you're listening to this on a podcast, give us a rating, give us a, hopefully it's 5 stars, but give us a rating and also drop a comment as well. So it definitely helps us out in terms of people finding us on in the world, in the area that is, in the space that is. So definitely leave a comment, you guys. Leave a comment, leave a rating. Let us know your thoughts about this episode. It helps other people find us when you do that. So drop a comment in the comment section below or in the comment thread, or drop a rating, drop a note, drop something, but just drop something. Let us know your thoughts, and let other people find us. So leave a comment below, you guys, and give us a rating. Okay, you guys, that is it for Hot Topics today. Thank you so much for joining me. I look forward to you joining me at the next episode. Thank you guys again. And now I am signing off. Bye, guys.